What it is, what it do, cyber world. It is your girl, the one, the only, Ash Said It. AshSaidIt.com, AshSaidIt.com. Welcome to the Ash Said It Daily Podcast Show. We appreciate you so very much. Over 1,500 episodes and 500,000 streams worldwide. None of this would be possible without you guys, so I thank you so, so very much. And yes, we're still living a bit of a pandemic life. And that means mostly that we are indoors, we're staying safe, better safe than sorry. And it means that we're spending a lot of time, watching some Netflix and TV, but also those smartphones, those tablets and devices. We've been spending even more time as the holidays are among, we're right on the helm of all the major holidays coming up. So you've been spending time online, social media, all that good stuff. And some of your favorite people, these influencers are on there and they're telling you what you need to get for your loved ones. They're telling you what you need for your household. But some of them are not telling you all of the truth. So I've got Senior Vice President of Carusele Media, the wonderful Erin. Hey, Erin.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us, Erin. So, Erin, what part of the country are you at right now?
So we are based in North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Cool. And so you're doing pretty good with weather and stuff. We're having about the same weather. I'm just a little north
I don't
of
know.
you.
For me, it's kind of cold out. Like, I have to put a jacket on, and I'm not really into that,
Yeah.
It's I'm good with just a sweater.
Oh, my goodness. It's insane. Absolutely insane. Okay, so talking about influencers and stuff, people look at these influencers. They trust them. They're trusting their opinion. They're trusting that they're telling the truth. I've heard, and I'm sure you've heard, tons of stories of influencers that pay for followers. They pay for all kinds of influence to make sure, they're getting clout and all this crazy stuff like that. And it's just crazy because influencer marketing, it's absolutely needed. It's absolutely a huge platform for people that wouldn't normally have a voice, and people, we're always looking for the next best thing for ourselves, for our families and things of that nature. So having these influencers tell us, okay, the real deal with stuff, it makes a difference for me. Technically, I guess I'm also an influencer because I give my real opinion about stuff. If I don't like something, hey, it's getting put out there. If I love it, I definitely want to tell people, hey, this product is worth the money. But it's been getting crazier and crazier.
It has, yeah. It's interesting. I would say about 2018 is really when influencer scandals. I mean, there's always been scandals in every industry, but I feel like the scandals just kept going and going. And 2018 was when Unilever came out, and they really started calling out influencers for buying fake followers.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. So we've done a lot of research and a lot of writing on this, and and what we've seen is we're kind of like, hey, brands, you did this.
Yeah.
You started paying people based on the number of followers they had. And as a result, people want to make money, and everyone's going to do what they need to do to get a buck. And people are going to try to figure out how to skirt the system. And so, there were influencers who started engaging in some, not so good best practices, or not best practices, but not so good practices to grow their following. And so they, it makes the brands think that they have more influence than they actually do. And as a result, the brands started paying them more. And the brands just weren't doing the due diligence that I think they should have done to make sure that these folks were really influencing their followers versus just having a lot of them. And so they incentivized that behavior. And, thankfully, Unilever kind of got really loud about this and started talking about it. And it's really been cracked down on. We see a lot of data sources now where you can't go do that, because if you do, us as influencer, marketing experts, we can go into these platforms and we can see it. And I think, so it kind of de-incentivized that behavior once those data platforms came out. But, of course, that was just the first big scandal. Everyone's looking now, you can't do that anymore. Let's find a new way to try to make a buck.
Yes. And so the latest scandal that we're going to discuss or whatever today, it involves one of our favorite platforms, our online platform. You know, we're in pandemic life, we're quarantining still. So Amazon is everyone's bestie. We're always on Amazon. We're looking for everything. You can get your groceries from Amazon now. So let's talk a little bit about how this scandal unfolded.
Yeah, so it's interesting. This actually goes back to around 2018, 2019 timeframe. So pre-pandemic is when it started. But what happened, and it really just came to light in recent weeks, Amazon is actually suing 2 influencers and 11 business partners of these influencers. And the short story is these influencers were using their platforms, their Instagram and their TikTok platforms, to sell counterfeit goods through Amazon, which is a big no-no. It is against the seller's terms of use on the platform. And, you know, it's interesting that they thought they were going to get away with it. And honestly, they did get away with it for a while because they had set up these product pages in a way that Amazon's technology that's designed to try to find counterfeit goods on their platform couldn't see what was happening. So these product pages would be for really benign and generic fashion items. So just a regular brown leather bag or, you know, a blue wallet. But what would happen is these influencers would post, hey, go to this link on Amazon. You're going to buy a product. You're going to buy this product, but we're actually going to send you this counterfeit Louis Vuitton or this counterfeit Chanel bag. So the end user knew that they were buying counterfeit, but they didn't care, right? They got that Chanel on their shoulder. Wow. So Amazon ended up trying to shut this down. These 2 influencers, at least one of them we know was part of the Amazon Associates program. And, you know, it really stinks for legitimate influencers out there because they can make some good money being part of that program. Because Amazon basically pays them a commission for anybody who clicks on their links that they've posted and those affiliate links, and then they get a commission if people buy Amazon products. So it's not a bad way to make a living or kind of supplement your income if you're an influencer. And they did try to shut this one woman down, and she went and just created new handles and applied again and tried to get back into the associates program. So, you know, I think Amazon did a lot to try to shut this down without taking a legal route and just kind of making it stop. And, you know, because we do hate to see a big brand going after, you know, regular Janes and Joes, so to speak. But, you know, they tried to just shut it down and make it stop. And these guys were persistent. So they ended up filing a lawsuit just in the last couple weeks against them for the actions that they took. Yeah,
I think that, you know, we don't like seeing these things happen. You're like, oh my gosh, Amazon's coming after, you know, the small dog, the underdog in the situation. But in actuality, Amazon at some point, they were going to have to make an example of someone. They were going to have to, in order to deter future, you know, things like this happening, people need to know there are consequences for these type of actions. You know,
and you know, to maintain the legitimacy of their own platform. You know, and by not letting counterfeit goods be sold, and even the legitimacy of the Amazon Associates program. You know, I think influencers, you know, if anyone's feeling like, oh man, Amazon came after my kind, so to speak, I think it's the opposite of that. I think by, you know, not letting these bad eggs continue what they're doing, you know, Amazon's protecting the relationship that it's had with a lot of influencers who are part of this associates program, because otherwise they would have to shut it down if they couldn't get a handle on something like this.
Definitely. So what would your advice, Erin, be for platforms such as Amazon as far as, I mean, there's no way to prevent something like this happening. You know, people keep on getting more crafty. The technology is changing. So what advice would you give to any company to try to maybe lower or kind of prevent a lot of these instances as far as them, getting taken advantage of?
Yeah. Well, I think there's a couple of things. I think one, technology is incredibly powerful. So Amazon does have technologies in place where it's just looking at things that are anomalies that look a little fishy to try to figure out. They're looking at things like keywords. They're doing image recognition to see if anything on their platform might be counterfeit. Right. Of course, these guys were really smart in the way they set up everything that existed, every asset that existed on the Amazon platform related to this scandal or to this scam wasn't detectable by the Amazon technology that was set up to kind of prevent this stuff. Yeah. But, Amazon was really smart, and I think it's definitely a best practice for brands in general, is they found this through social listening. And so in that social listening, and can you imagine the volume of that? I think that's one of the things that keep brands away from social listening, because it's huge. And imagine the volume of people online that are talking about Amazon on a daily basis. I mean, that's insane, right? That's so, but that's how they found this. So they found these posts that these influencers were posting with, Amazon keywords in it, and to see if their suspicions were correct, they actually went and purchased some of the products multiple times. Wow. To see how prevalent this was before they took any action on it. But I think that social listening, it's really powerful. I think, the other thing, and this is kind of a positive that comes out of it for the industry, as bad as this one case is, it's proof that influencers can sell product. So if you ever question, the power of influencer marketing, I think this is absolute proof that these two influencers were consistently selling, driving sales of enough of this counterfeit profit through nothing else than organic social media posts, enough that it made Amazon stand up and take legal action, which you can imagine is costing them quite a bit of money.
Oh, absolutely.
Take legal action against it. So proof is in the pudding, I guess, if nothing else comes out of this, that influencer marketing works.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Erin, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you. Let everyone know the best way to get in contact with you and, of course, to follow you guys across social media.
Yeah. So me in particular across social media, I am Social Chic across pretty much all the handles. Chic spelled SHEEK, like rhymes with geek, because it was back in the day when I came up with that. And I am definitely a social media geek. In terms of our company, it's Carusele, spelled kind of funny, CARUSELE.com. And if you're interested in more about influencer marketing, advice for brands, advice for influencers, or even more on some of these scandals, we publish pretty regularly on our blog. So I would encourage you to kind of check out our blog and see some of the latest research and trends and recommendations that we have.
I love it, Erin. Thank you so much. I know that you will be back when there's more scandals going on, and as I'm sure 2021 there'll be so much more going on. So no, you definitely have to come back. So we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And,
thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to each and every one of you guys for all of your love and support. Keeping in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face, you tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for, the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.